Right. So let's get started. So today we are going to discuss the tutorial on job costing. So it's comparatively a very easy topic. So there we have like three questions. So we maybe start looking at question number one, right? Okay. So let's read the question. A garment factory accepted an order to produce 600 t-shirts at a price of rupees 500 per unit. Okay, so you have accepted an order to produce 600 t-shirt at a price of 500 per unit. So you can sell one t-shirt at rupees 500. The following information is available. It says that 0.46 meter of fabric is required for per one unit, right? So make that particular change. So you need to add one thing. So here I cannot add that. I think, yeah. So I cannot add that. So make sure that this is 0.46 meters of fabric per unit is required. Tala මෙතන පොඩි වෙනසක් කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර පොඩි information එකක් නැහැ මේක per unit වෙන්න ඕනේ, right? 0.46 meter of fabric per unit is required for this order, and the relevant fabric can be bought at price of rupees 700 per meter. So you can purchase 1 meter at 700. However, orders for this fabric at this price are accepted in multiples of 100 meters. So, however, when you are going to purchase these materials, this fabric, so you can purchase them only at the 100 multiples. So, in the sense, so let's say that your requirement is somewhere around 250 or something, but still you need to purchase 300 because the purchases would only allow in 100 multiples. You can purchase 100, 200, 300 likewise. Tarbutal pena me material එක අපිට purchase කරන්න බෑ අපිට අර අවශ්‍ය precise requirement එකටම නමුත් අපි අනිවාර්යෙන්ම 100 multiples වලින් තමයි purchase කරන්න ඕන. Right? Also it says that there is a normal loss of 5% of materials at cutting. 5% normal loss එකකුත් තියෙනවා material මේ cut කරන process එකේදී කැපිලා ඉවත් වෙනවා. It's a normal loss. And unused materials are sold at a price of 600 per meter. So here it was said that you need to purchase at 100 multiples. If there is some unused material, say that it is left 20 or 30 meters of material, no problem, you can sell them at 600 per meter. You purchase them at 700, but you can only sell them back at 600 per meter. But it also helps to reduce the loss potential. Then it talks about the cost of accessories. The direct labor cost is given per t-shirt, rupees 40, the direct labor cost. And also you need to pack this shirt. So the packing cost is rupees 5 per shirt, per t-shirt. So it's a kind of, again, direct cost. 0.5 hours is spent to manufacture one t-shirt. So the time that it takes to manufacture a shirt is given. And overhead absorption rate per hour, rupees 120. So the predetermined OAR is also being provided. Predetermined OAR being provided. So you're much exposed to this in the discussion of the previous chapter. So you need to apply it here. So it's a kind of application of the systems what you have learned, especially for the overheads. Maybe the traditional overhead absorption method or maybe the ABC, but now we are going to apply them in the context of job costing. Right. The requirement, the total cost of completing this job. So what is the total cost of completing the job and profit or loss arising from this job? So you need to figure out two things: the total cost of completing the job and profit or loss arising from this job. Okay, would like you to attempt. So you can take like 10 minutes time, I would say. So take 10 minutes time and try that out. Attempt කරන්න බලන්න මුලින්ම. So in the meantime, the question that you may be having, so please do let me know. Right. So how is the progress? So have you tried it? So I have just copied this question. So now you can check to what extent that you have done it correctly. So we may work this out together. So then you can see to what extent that you have done it correctly, right? Okay. The first requirement is to figure out the total cost of completing this job. You need to figure out what is the total cost of completing this job. Okay. So let us look at that. So here you can see that the most tricky aspect is about the determination of the direct material. So the fabric cost. So let's deal with that first, the fabric cost. So there you need to take a kind of simple working. So it would be working one. So let me take working one over here. So here first you need to determine how much material is required. How much material is required. So it says that it takes 0.46 meters of fabric per unit, right? Then you are going to produce 600 t-shirts. So therefore it seems that it's going to be 0.46 into 600. So this is a material requirement, right? Material requirement. But here it says that there's a normal loss. There's a normal loss of 5% material at cutting. So hence here you have considered the material that is required or material that become part of the final product. So, but here you must consider about that particular 5% normal loss. So, you know, in the process, it incurs the normal loss. So when it comes to the normal loss, so you cannot avoid the normal loss, right? Hence, you need to allow that normal loss in the process. Hence, this 276 would represent 95%. So having allowed the normal loss. So accordingly, if you are to work out what is 100%, you can take this 276 stands for 95%. So having allowed the normal loss, then what is 100? This would be the kind of material that it may require. So if I take that around it, it's 291 materials are required. Meters of material. No? Meters. So once you take that 291, if you get the 95% out of that, it's going to be the 276, right? In the end product, it would contain 0.46 fabric, but the production process is having some normal losses, especially at the cutting department. So you need to cut some and remove it. So hence you must allow that. Accordingly, you need 291 meters over there. 200. Huda, can you hear me clearly now? Yes, can someone let me know? You cannot hear me properly. Yes, some says that. So how about now? Is it getting better? Now fine, no? Okay, good. Now clear. Okay, thanks. Okay, now let's see. It's 291. Okay. So then the fabric cost, you can work out. It's 291 meters because you know the normal loss is you are going to attribute that to the process, and the meter can be bought at 700. So it's 291 into 700. 291 into 700. So this is the fabric cost. Then you can see that another direct material, that is the packaging. So packing cost. So you need to pack this product, the complete product. So it costs you ₹5 per shirt. If it is for 600 shirts, then it's going to be 5 into 600. taken. Then we have the direct labor. So how much it's going to be? It says that per t-shirt it costs you rupees 40. So if it costs you 40, then for 600 shirts, this is it. 14 to 600. 200, so 24,000. Then you have to deal with the overheads, overhead cost. So there you have the predetermined overhead absorption rate. Per hour, it is 120. Per hour, it's 120. So it says that to manufacture one shirt, it takes 0.5 hours. So then, in order to produce 600, it may take this much of hours. So in the sense, 300 hours. So it would require 300 hours, and that is into 120 each. So it's going to be 36,000. 36,000. So here you have worked out the cost of the product. The cost of the product. So here what we take the total cost of completing this job. Cost of the product. So in fact, the manufacturing cost that it comes. Manufacturing cost of the product. Right. Here it comes. Once you take the total, okay. For your first question, this must be the answer. Okay. So it's in rupees. So this is the manufacturing cost of the product. Okay, so the tricky aspect is about the fabric cost, how you have to figure that out. So you need to consider that very correctly. So it takes 0.46 for t-shirt. So then if it is for 600, you need effectively 276 meters. But in order to get 276, because the production process is having some normal losses. So in that, you need to allow for that, because the normal process is something inherent in the process, and we do absorb that cost to the product. So hence, having considered that, you may be taking the 291 meters. So that's how we do. Then if you look at the second requirement, it says that to calculate the profit or loss arising from this job. Okay. So in order to do that, you can take the sales or the revenue. Sales revenue, I must say. I'll just say the revenue. So how much is that? The revenue is going to be, you can sell this t-shirt 600 at 500 each. 300,000. You can earn it. Then what is the cost of sales? Cost of sales. So it takes you the cost of sales of 266,700. So consequently, there's a kind of a gross profit. The gross profit is there. Gross profit. Thereafter, you would have seen that there's another important aspect. Here you can see that the question had said you can purchase the materials in 100 multiples. That's what it said. You can sell this, you can purchase this material at 100 multiples. So therefore, in order to consume 291 materials, probably you would have purchased 300 materials. So let me take it as working 2. Working 2, right? So if I take the working 2, you would have definitely purchased 300 meters. 300 meters. Because your purchase is going to be at 100 multiples. So out of that, you have used effectively 291. For the production process, you put 291, and there is unused materials of the difference, how much the 9 materials is left. And when it comes to this material, it says that you can sell them at 600. You can sell them at 600, but what is the price? You purchase, price, purchase them at rupees 700 each. But now you can only manage to sell at 600 selling price. And this kind of loss, we call it, it's a abnormal loss. So it is not something inherent to the manufacturing process like the normal loss. So what goes beyond the normal loss, we call it the abnormal. So if you have abnormal loss in the process, so that must be something what we charge to the P&L. Under the other expenses, we must take that. So here you can see that there is a kind of a loss. So you bought it at 700, you sell it at 600. So what you cannot recover is 100 per unit. So the abnormal loss in the process is going to be 9 units multiplied by 700 minus 600. This is it. So if you take that, it's going to be 9 into 100. So there is a loss of 900 rupees, and it's an abnormal kind of a loss. And once you consider that, there only you can arrive at the profit of this, and that's going to be 32,400. The profit or loss. So here you have found that there's a profit of the job. So the job has managed to produce a profit. So that is your profit. Okay, so this is how we do. So if there's anything that is not clear to you, yes, you can question on that. So hope that you would have exposed to the normal loss and abnormal loss in the discussion of the product, what you call the process costing especially. So you would have exposed. So then you can draw from there. The normal loss is something inherent in the process, right? Something inherent in the process and that you cannot avoid. So, but the abnormal loss is something that you could have avoided. So if you had make use of the efficient manufacturing processes, the latest technology. So likewise, so hence the normal loss is something that you attribute to the product, while the abnormal loss is something that you cannot, or you are not allowed to attribute that into the manufacturing cost. So hence what is supposed to do, you must charge it to the P&L as a loss. Right. So that's how we do. So hope it is clear to you. So if you have any question, anything to add, yes, you can do, right? Okay, in the meantime, so let me move on to the second question. Let's look at something similar to this. The following information relate to a job carried out by a service station. So it's a kind of a service station. So they have served in a particular day 3 vehicles, the vehicle 1, vehicle 2, and vehicle 3. The number of floor workers, man hours. So number of labor that it takes for each of the vehicle is given. It's 13 hours, 15 hours, and 20 hours. And also lubricant that they have used in the process is given 3 liters, 4 liters, and 6 liters. Yes. So you're asking that the abnormal loss is other expense. Yes, Sudha. So it must be shown under the other expenses. That's how we do. Abnormal loss comes under the other expenses. So you could have even take that broader heading and you could have said that. It's other expense. Even I can remember that I have referred to that in the very first question. So you have lost certain materials. So due to a kind of a fire in the plant, So that is a kind of a abnormal loss scenario, and here also the abnormal loss. Good. So then it gives you the cost of liter of lubricant, 700, 900, and 650 different kinds of lubricants, and the cost of the part replaced is also given. They have replaced some parts. Supervising time is also given. The cost of man hour is given. So there you need to multiply by the number of man hours. The other overhead per floor worker is given. It's 80 per floor worker hour. The supervisor's monthly salary is given. And when it comes to supervisor's rate, that is calculated on the basis of 20 days per week and 5 hours per day. So if the information as such, calculate the cost of each job. And also it asks you to come up with the total revenue of the service station. So here one information is missing again. You cannot work out the total revenue. So therefore, we need to have a kind of assumption. So let's say that the policy of this service station is to keep a 25% markup. The policy of this business is to keep 25% markup on each of the job. කරන සෑම වැඩෙම 125ක markup එකක් තියාගන්නවා කියලා අපි assume කරමු. එහෙම නැති වුණොත් අපිට මේ revenue එක work out කරන්න වෙන්නේ. Right? Okay. So then again, I would like to invite you first. So take 10 minutes time. So try this out, then we may discuss later. හරි පුතාලා එහෙනම් විනාඩි 10ක් කරන් ටක් ගාලා මේක කියවලා ෆැමිලිය වෙන්න work out කරන්න. ඊට පස්සේ අපි බලමු. Right. So hope you'd have attempted that. So let us now have a look at that. So there's one question in the previous one. There you asked that how I get this 291. Yeah, it's based on this photo. You can see that the question says per unit, in order to produce one t-shirt, it takes 0.46 meters of fabric. So if I work that out, I found that it was for 600. It effectively needs, it effectively needs, sorry, it effectively needs 276 meters. However, the question says that the normal loss in the production process is 5%. So therefore, you must need to allow that normal loss, right? So if the normal loss is 5%, so once you allow that, in order to allow that, how many meters of material that you require per shirt? So in order to produce 600 shirts, it effectively needs 276. Then having allowed 5%, how you get into this 276? So it is simply this 276 stands for 0.95. Then what is 100? So this is what I have applied. Then you can see there it comes 290.526. So if I round it, 291 comes. Then if you simply allow this 5% of this, you can see that you need to allow 14.55. So once you get that, so you may be effectively getting 276. That's how I did. Okay, I have simply allowed the okay. So let us now look at the question number 2, right? So in the question number 2, give me 1 second. Right, okay. So let us look at the question number 2. So there you can see the 3 vehicles are there. Vehicle 1, vehicle 2, and vehicle 3. So then let us work out what is the, starting from the flow worker or the direct. So starting from the direct material, you can take the cost of parts replaced first. So taking the direct material first, is cost of parts replaced. Cost of parts replaced. So there it gives you 6,000, 3,000, and 13,000. So that is the cost of parts replaced. Then you need to consider about, so here lubricant is a key component, so you can directly identify that. That is also direct labor, so you can take the lubricant as well. Lubricant. So it says that for the first one, it takes 300 and it costs rupees 700 per liter. So you take it. For the second vehicle, it takes 4 liters and the cost of the liter is 900. So different kind of lubricant, 4 into 900. And the next one, it's about the vehicle number 3. It takes 6 liters of 650 each. 6 liters into 650. Okay, that is about the direct cost. Then you have the workers, the flow workers. It's a direct labor. Salaries, flow worker salaries, I must say. It says that number of flow workers, man hours 13, and the cost of man hour of a floor worker is 250. Okay, so 215 to 13, 215 to 13, then 15 into 250, it's 15 into 250, and for the vehicle 3 it takes 20 into 250. Okay, so we have taken the direct labor. Thereafter you are having other overheads per floor work hour. So it's a kind of a predetermined overhead rate that you would have worked out, and so it is for the based on the floor work hours. So therefore you can see the floor work hours are given, so you can take that. So it's about the manufacturing overhead. Manufacturing overhead. You can take the other overhead. The OAR they have worked out, the predetermined OAR, that is 80. So it is 80 into 13, 80 into 15, and 80 into 20. So they have taken that. Then you have the supervisor's salary. There is also manufacturing overhead. Supervisors' salaries. How it goes. So supervisor's time is given for each of the vehicles 0.5, 1, and 2. The supervisor is paid a monthly salary of 80,000. So when it comes to the supervisor's monthly salary, supervisor's rate is calculated on the basis of 20 days per month. Sorry, it must be 20 days per month and 5 hours per day. So it is taken 20 days per month. It's obvious because there can't be 20 days per week. 20 days per month and 5 hours per day. So therefore, if you take the number of hours, the supervisor's salary, if you take a kind of a working, you take working one, supervisor salary, it's 20 days into 5. So therefore, per month, this would be the hours. Per month, hours. So it's 100. It's 100. So supervisor's monthly salary, that is 80,000. Now you can work out the OAR, 80,000 divided by this 100. So then hourly rate comes. The hourly rate is 800. So here comes the hourly rate. Hourly rate for supervisor. So if you take 800 per unit, for vehicle 1, it takes 0.5. 800 into 0.5. For the second unit, it takes 1 hour. 1 into 800. So the other one, it is 2 into 800. So once you take that, that is going to be the manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost. So this is going to be the manufacturing cost. You have worked out the manufacturing cost. The total cost. Right. Now you have worked that out. So that is the first requirement. Then the second requirement was that it says that total revenue of the service station. Total revenue of the service station for the day. So there I said that you need to take a markup of 25%. You're going to keep 25% markup for each work. So then if the cost is 100, then what is 25? ඒතර අපි කරන සෑම වැඩෙම අපි 125ක මාකප් එකක් තියා ගන්නවා කිව්වා. ඒ අනුව අපේ sales price එක වෙනවා මෙන්න මේ වගේ ගානකට තමයි අපි මේක විකුණන්නේ. This is the selling price, the price per each job. So accordingly, you've been asked to work out the profit, set, or the revenue. Total revenue, okay. So the total revenue is what it is asked. So this is going to be the revenue. So consequently, you can take a, if you require that, you can even take a total column. You can take the total revenue over there. So this is your total revenue. Right. So that is the two requirements that is being asked to produce. So this one, the cost, the other one, most importantly, this. Right. So it's a comparatively easy task compared to the previous one. The only tricky point that you had to work on, that was the supervisor's salary, supervisor salary. So in that, you had to work out a predetermined OAR, and that was found to be 800 per hour. Then you taken that. That's it. Okay, now let's look at the final question that is given, that is interesting. So it's going to be the following information related to 3 audits conducted by an audit firm during the year 2021. So number of audit trainees allocated is given, number of working days taken to complete the audit is given, the number of audit supervisors hours spent is given, the number of audit managers hours spent is given, the cost of stationery issued is given, a direct material, or it may be an overhead. No, it may be the direct cost of stationery issued, and the overhead cost is also given. So if the things as such, then what is the requirement? Each audit is handled by an audit senior who is one of the trainees allocated to the audit team. You can see that the several trainees are allocated. Out of that, the one person is a senior. The cost of an audit senior is 200 per hour, and the normal audit trainee hour is hour cost 100. Number of working hours per day, 8. Audit seniors and the other trainees are full-time involved for the allocated audit. Okay. The audit firm consider that the number of working days for the cost calculation for the month is 25. Okay, audit firm consider number of working days as 25. The audit supervisor is paid an hourly rate of 2,500. Audit supervisor is there. And the monthly salary of the audit manager is given, it's 200. Okay. So if the things are such, the requirement is to estimate the cost of each job audit. So come up with the cost computation for each audit. So again, I would like to allow you, say 10 minutes. So you can attempt that, then thereafter we may discuss. Take your time and try that out. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, so please do let me know. Right. So how is the progress? Have you managed to do that? So can we have a look at that? So it is comparatively easy to the questions what we have worked out, but so we may have a look at that, right? So the third question. So it's about the three entities that we have. It is ABC, PQR, the entities that you are doing, ABC, PQR, and the XYZ, XYZ. So having taken these three entities, number of, so let's start with the direct material as usual. Direct materials. When it comes to a kind of a auditing task, so the materials is going to be a crucial aspect. So you're going to consume the materials. It's a crucial aspect, so we may take it. For the ABC, it takes cost of stationery shoot 2,500, 12,500 for PQR, and it is 10,000 for the XYZ. 2,500, 12,500, and 10,000. Okay, taken. Then you have the audit trainees. Audit trainees. Salaries. So there you need to make a kind of a distinction. Audit supervisor. It's a kind of senior member, I think. Sorry, audit senior, no? Supervisor. Audit senior. And there you have the audit training. So it's going to be the junior, no? How to spell junior? Okay. So when it comes to the audit supervisors, it says that the rate is 200 per hour, and number of working hours per day, it is 8. So for the first task, it takes number of working days 7, right? So it's going to be 200 into 8 into 7, 200 hourly rate, and this would be the number of hours, 7 working days into 8, 56 hours, and number of trainees, number of supervisors, only 1 supervisor. For each job, there is a 1 supervisor. So it is pretty much the same across, but the days is going to be different. No? For the second task, it has only taken 5 days. Eight into 5, 8 hours, 5 days, and 1 8,000. And for the other one, it is 10 working days has taken. So it is 200 into hours 8 into 10, 80 hours, 1 supervisor. So that's going to be the case. Okay. We have taken that. Then the junior. So when it comes to junior, first one, it is 1 junior would involve. The junior's rate is going to be 100, 8 hours, 7 days, and only 1. For the second task, how many juniors are there? 3 members are there, 2 juniors. Huh? So again, 100 is going to be 8 hours. And how many days? 5 days. Okay. Then it's going to be this time 2 juniors. No? Right. Similarly, the XYZ, there are 4 juniors. 4 juniors, and it takes 10 days. It's 100, 8 into 10, and that is into 4. So it's going to be 32,000. Okay. So that's going to be the audit trainee's salaries. It's just a computation. Then it talks about the audit supervisor. So how is the audit supervisor's situation? It's a kind of a overhead cost, right? So now we are coming to the overhead. So when it comes to the overhead, audit supervisor is there. So in case of the audit supervisor, you can see that take 1 hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours. And the rate would also be given. Audit supervisor is paid an hourly rate of 2,500. Supervisor is paid an hourly rate of 2,500. The number of audit hours spent, it is 1 hour, 2 hour, and 3 hours. 2,500 into 1 hour, 2,500 into 2 hours, and 2,500 into 3 hours. Okay, that is going to be the audit supervisor's case. Then also the audit manager is there. Audit manager. So when it comes to audit manager scenario, so I believe that the working may be required. Come to take a simple working audit manager situation. So it says that you consider number of working days 25, and it's going to be 8 hours per day. 8 hours per day, yeah. 25 days, working days, 8 hours per day, hours per day. So once you do the multiplication, it's going to be per month, it's 400 hours situation, 200 hours situation. And the monthly salary of the audit manager, it's going to be 200,000 salary. So it is the audit manager salaries. So if you simply now work out an hourly rate, and that's going to be this much, 1,000 per hour. So the audit manager's involvement 1 hour in each of the scenario. So it's 1,000, 1,000, and it's 1,000. So that's how we take. Then you can see the overhead cost. Overhead cost is also given. Overhead cost, it's going to be 40,000, 50,000, 40,000, 50,000, and also 100,000. Now if you take that, and it's going to be the cost of each of the jobs. Cost of each of the jobs. Right, this is it. You can see that 62,800, 84,500, and 166,500. Okay, so here we have worked out the things. So would like to now ask you if you have anything to add, anything that you're not comfortable, or anything if we have made a mistake or something. So do let me know. So here also the tricky aspect is how to work out the audit managers one, but you need to carefully take that all the required information is given. It's 25 working days, 8 hours per day. So according to 200 hours are there. And once you work out the audit manager's hourly rate, it comes as 1,000. So then it is 1,000 across the scenario. So here we have taken all the figures in rupees. Yes, if there is anything to add, yeah, or you will fine with that. So just give me a feedback. feedback එකක් දෙන්න කොහොමද? Anything that you're not comfortable. It's comparatively easy what we have discussed. Right, hope everyone is doing good. Okay, then for the day, that's it. So we have discussed all the 3 questions, nothing is left over there. So in the next class, we'll be starting an important one. It's about the process costing. So make sure that you're going to participate and get the required learn. Right, okay, then with that note, for the day, we may stop at this point. Thank you.